I can't believe it, 2022 is over. Yo, what's good, it's your boy Reviews, and 2022 has been an epic year for movies and TV shows, but it's been an especially amazing year for anime. So many amazing series started and ended in the same year, with some returning series delivering greatness. But what is the greatest anime that came out in 2022? I decided to do a top 10 greatest anime of 2022. This is my list of the top 10 animes that I've watched in 2022. Because the anime on this list are the only series and movies that I watched in the year, this will be more of a ranking from worst to best. I will also include anime movies that came out in the year. Number 10, Spy X Family. Now, while I haven't completely finished the second core, I did finish the first core and I watched it twice already, and I think it's a pretty cute series. I love Anya, I love Lloyd, I love Yuri, and their just whole trio dynamic, the shenanigans they get up to. I feel like this show doesn't really have a specific main character. All three of the family members are main characters in their own right, but Lloyd, out of the three of them, gets probably some of the biggest character development. I really love how it starts off with him being this really confident spy, knowing what to do in the mission, but now that he has this new mission of taking care of Anya, he has no idea of what he's doing, and he's showing more of his human side instead of this cold-hearted spy dude. It's a fun series, and of course I won't spoil this show or any of the shows in this ranking list. Number 9, One Piece Film Red. I've already done a full review breakdown of this film, so go check it out, but overall it's a pretty fun film. I do love the addition of Shanks, his relationship with Yuta, and of course the movie has some great animation. It was really cool seeing most of the main characters from the main One Piece series make an appearance in this movie. Number 8, Demon Slayer, the Entertainment District arc. Now, technically this anime did begin at the end of December in 2021, but it did conclude in 2022, so I will still include this series on this list. I feel like with Demon Slayer, the best in terms of the writing and story was definitely the second half of season 1, but I feel like after that, I'm more or less coming back to Demon Slayer for the animation, like in the Mugen Train arc and this new Entertainment District arc. The story didn't really hook me as much when it began. It was so slow paced and there was too many gags, but once Tanjiro, Zenitsu and Inosuke were fighting against the main villains, that's when the series really kicked up. But overall, I've just been a bit when it comes to Demon Slayer. The characters are fine, the story is fine, I just don't really have too much of an attachment to the series. I do hope the plot does get more interesting and more intriguing as the seasons go on, because so far, it's kind of a bore. Number 7, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Now this series was a big surprise for a lot of people. It came out in August and it pretty much was the talk of the town. I do feel like the strongest part of the show was the first 5 episodes before the major time skip. I actually preferred the way the show was sort of progressing with those characters in that time period. I feel like the show just sort of felt a bit empty after the time skip. It didn't really grip me as much with the sudden changes of certain characters. The romance between David and Lucy felt kind of rushed in my opinion. I would have loved a little bit more development and just let them sort of get to know one another a little bit more. It just kind of felt fast. They do explore more into what's going on with the two of them in the second half, but I kind of wasn't really there for that. I was really there for, again, the epic animation. Like, I really liked the style. Rebecca for life, boy! Number 6, My Hero Academia Season 6. After the disappointing Season 5, My Hero Academia returns with greatness, and Studio Bones delivers a lot of great stuff. From the moment the season began, it's just been hit after hit with these episodes. Beautifully adapted from the manga, nice pacing and all that jazz. When Dabi revealed a big secret to the whole world, that was very intense, emotional, and really intriguing, and somewhat satisfying considering what this dude went through. The season truly dives deep into making the heroes and the villains quite morally grey, showing more humanity towards the villains and showing a lot more brutality towards the heroes. Number 5, we got Mob Psycho 100 Season 3. I'll be honest, the first half of the season didn't really hook me as much. There was a moments before the middle half that really got really interesting. but really towards the end, particularly the last 4 episodes, is definitely where the show truly picked up and delivered what is possibly known as one of my favorite anime endings that I've ever seen. Number 4, Jujutsu Kaisen Azira movie. Yes, I know the movie came out in Japan in 2021, but it came out in the West in 2022, so it belongs on the list. Again, I did a full review of this movie, so go check it out. But overall, this movie was a blast to watch. I really liked the movie when it came to the characters, particularly Maki and Yuta. The story was amazing, the visuals were spectacular. Yeah, go check it out if you haven't seen it. Number 3, we've got Bleach, the 1000-year Blood War arc. 10 years later, Bleach finally makes a dramatic return and it delivers with greatness. While I was quite worried for the pacing in the first 3 episodes, the show went on to just completely squash my worries of the show. I really love some of these new developments and just these plot reveals and twists and turns. It honestly felt like every episode had a bit of a mini twist, leaving us on a cliffhanger. And I love the new enhanced art style that Studio Period have given us, but the music, wow, I think the music was probably one of the best parts of this new arc. Go check it if you haven't seen it. Now for my top 2 and top 1, this was quite hard. Both series have been pretty phenomenal and mind-blowing and truly broke the internet multiple times. The anime that came at number 2 would have originally been my number 1 if the number 1 anime didn't come out this year, so that's why Attack on Titan the final season part 2 ranks at number 2. Yeah, it might be surprising considering that I've talked a lot about this series in this past year, but the number 1 spot was just a bit of a surprise that it just had to be at number 1. If I wasn't a manga reader for AOT, I probably would have ranked this at number 1, but because I know what happens from the manga, a lot of the big twists and turns didn't really shock me. I was mainly there for the visuals and just to see how it was going to be adapted, what they were going to change or add in, and yeah, Studio Mappa delivered greatness. I know when part 1 came out back in 2020 and 2021, the fans were not happy with the way it was adapted. It was more polarized in thoughts, some loved it, some really disliked the new style. But part 2 was much more enhanced than part 1 due to the fact that Mappa had a lot more time to refine. I have really enjoyed Mappa's adaptation of Attack on Titan of the final season part 2. The first 6 episodes of this season were pretty phenomenal and truly blew my mind as well as the last 3 episodes being very spectacular. However, I must admit that the 3 episodes in between those great sections of the anime, episodes 82, 83 and 84, did feel like a bit of a low point for the series. Check out my weekly reviews that I've done over the past year of this season so far, but AOT the final season part 2 was a pretty spectacular season. It adapted chapters 117 to 130 pretty damn well, and I couldn't be more excited for the final season part 3. But my honorable mentions are Bubble by Wit Studio. I've already done a review for this movie, so check it out, but overall it's a pretty spectacular film. It's quite polarizing, some people don't really like it, but others really do love it, and I'm one of those people. Great visuals, fun characters, and a pretty intriguing story. Vampire of the Garden, I've only seen 1 episode so far, but that first episode was a pretty intriguing way to start an anime. Check out my full review for episode 1 of Vampire in the Garden. But of course, coming at number 1 and probably the biggest surprise for me was Chainsaw Man. I'm an anime only for this, so I had no idea what to expect for this anime. I did see a lot of hype, but I sort of was expecting this very fan servicey, ecchi-esque anime that some of the fans have been saying that it is, but it kind of is and it kind of isn't. There's a lot of heart and really great world building in this series. Like, I was so surprised as to how well written some of these characters were and how much you cared for them, and damn, when they're willing to kill off a character that we have fallen in love with, they do not hold back. Every episode to me almost felt like a 10 out of 10. Like, I've never seen that in an anime, especially a new series. The cinematic visuals, the realistic character motions, and the epic action sequences really just made this series a treat and just a surprise. If I was a manga reader, I probably would have ranked this a little bit lower, as I probably would have known where the story is going, but because I didn't, it just blew me away week after week. But my list might not be the right list, it's just a list. Tell me your list down below in the comments. Am I right or wrong? Do you agree or disagree? Tell me. Like for more anime reactions, reviews, comparisons, breakdowns, rankings, and more. But thank you for watching, have a great New Year's Eve, and as always, Boy the Review signing out.